Today, we're taking a look at another Battle Spirit Saga starter deck. Today, taking a look at Call of the Curse. I'm going to be showing you guys, too, how we can upgrade this deck. We're going to be taking 15 cards out, putting 15 cards in, and doing this for all under $15. All right, you guys, we are all set. Let's go take a look at the starter deck Call of the Curse. One thing I actually didn't show you guys last time, and I also made a video where we did Dragon Onslaught, so if you want to go check out that video, I'll put a link down below in the description box. But you know what I didn't show off? I didn't show off the actual field. As you guys see, here's all the field, and you got your life up there, your burst effects, you got your reserve, the field there, the card trash, so I feel like I show that off for you guys this time. Of course, we know we get the one red core, which is essential. There's the deck. And on the back, we get blue cores. So, nothing new there. We're not a stranger to any of that. Let's go ahead and take a look at the deck itself. Alright, so let's go ahead and unwrap this deck. So, of course, we're going to go ahead and go over the entire deck, and we're going to go ahead and see what actually comes in the starter deck. So, we get, of course, we get our 2 foil copies. Looks like we get 3 copies of that. The Assassin. We also get, I'm pretty sure we're going to get 3 copies of Sergro Snake. Mumimera, 3 copies. Oh, no, excuse me, we get 4 copies of that one. Did we get 4 copies of Demo Bone? That'd be really nice. Nope, only 3. Mumifent, 3 copies of those ones. Seems like you get 3. You get 1, 4 copies of something, and then you get all the 3s. Oaken Paddle. Dark Knight Florence. Nice Skullfly. Only 3 of them. Phasmobat. Stray Soul. Dark Grail. Purple Smoke Valley. Poison Shot. A lot of magic cards in this deck. Ooh, we get 4 copies of the Poison Shots. Okay. We get Core Drain. We have 4 copies of that one too, and we get 3 copies of the Bloody Rain. So there we go, we just went over the entire starter deck for Call of the Curse, and the thing with this deck is it revolves around 2 main abilities. Number 1, the Curse ability, which this deck ironically does not actually have a ton of that going for it right now, even though this deck is called Call of the Curse. And the second ability is around this guy, Dark King Snake. He basically wants to just remove cores from your opponent's spirits, and basically removing cores is going to unlock other abilities and stuff like that. So those are the overall specs of this deck, and we're going to go ahead and upgrade, and we're really going to synergize with both the Curse ability and removing cores from your opponent's spirits. So that's the actual deck itself. I'm going to show you guys now the 15 cards we're going to be taking out of this deck. Alright, you guys, now that we actually went over the entire deck itself, let me go ahead and show you guys the 15 cards that I think you guys should be taking out. So starting off with the spirits, and we're starting off with the cheapest card, and that's Demo Bones. And the reason why we're getting rid of Demo Bones is just because it's just a 1-drop that you can get out for free, but it just doesn't do anything else. It's all vanilla text, and it's not that strong of a card. So we're going to get rid of 3 copies of Demo Bone. The next spirit you're going to take out is 1 copy of Skullfly. And the reason why we're just taking out 1 copy is because the 3 other copies, or at least the 2 other copies in your deck, you're going to want, because you can get this card reduced by 2, so this can be a free 2-drop that you can drop onto the field. And just to get rid of that 1, this way your hand isn't flooded with Skullflies, because we don't want 2 or all 3 Skullflies in your hand. So just taking out 1, I think, gives it good balance. Next card we're going to take out is Segro Snake. And I believe we're getting 2 copies out. Yeah, we're going to remove 2 copies of the Segro Snake. The reason why we're going to get rid of 2 copies of the Segro Snake is just because of this ability. It's not a curse ability, doesn't remove cores, but it does have one decent ability, which is if it has a red core on this, no spirit with 1 core on them can block this card. So 2 copies of that one, really not that great, but you can leave 1 in the deck as well. Here's another one that I think is very crucial to getting rid of. Again, does not have the curse ability and does not remove cores. And you want to get rid of all the copies of Mumifent. And because this is a 4-drop, it can be reduced by 3. So essentially this can be a 1-drop, but it has no other text, no curses, and no removing cores. And that's what this deck wants to do. So if it doesn't have that, we're basically just getting rid of it. So all 3 copies of this have to go. and that'll take care of the spirits. Next up is Poison Shot. We're going to be getting rid of 2 copies of this one. There are better magic cards. Also, too, the main reason why we're getting rid of Poison Shot is because of how expensive this card costs. It is 5, can be reduced by 3, but you're still paying 2, and in this game, that's still a heavy price to pay. It does have a nice burst ability. You can draw a card, but its flash ability, again, it does remove a core, but we don't need 4 copies of it. So let's go ahead and get rid of 2 copies of Poison Shot. And then last but not least, all 3 copies of Dark Grail. There are better nexuses in purple, and this one doesn't really do a whole lot. It does remove a core from your opponent's spirit, but it has to have 2 or more on it. This game, that's not going to happen too often, to be honest with you, because again, the unspoken rule about Battle Spirit Saga is that the smaller creatures just have 1 core on them. Your opponent usually will summon them when he's going for his game-winning shot. So this card, there's better nexuses in purple. So all 3 copies must go, and those are the 15 cards that you will take out. Now let's go ahead and head over to TCG Player, where I'm going to be going showing you guys the 15 cards to add in under $15, and this should get your deck now better synergy, better rhythm with the deck, and it should give it a better build. So this way you can play and actually be just slightly competitive with your friends. Okay guys, we are now here at TCG Player. Of course, all prices current at the time of this recording, 6/1, June 1st. So we're going to be going over now the 15 cards that I think you guys should be adding in. So don't forget, we took 15 cards out. These are the 15 cards we're going to replace, and that should give this starter deck a little more oomph, a little more power to it. So the first thing we're going to be adding is the most expensive card, the Grand Underworld Trio Queen Maduk. This is an X-Rare. This is probably one of the most powerful purple card currently for Battle Spirit Saga. It comes in at $3.99, and this card, I mean, if you can get this card out in the field, it means one of 2 things. Either you are currently winning and you're about to put the final nail into the coffin, because this card can really just overload your opponent. So at levels 1, 2, and 3, when one of your spirits with Curse or Blood Curse reduces your opponent's life, place the lost life cores into the void instead of their reserve. In other words, they are not going to get those cores to use for their next turn, their next go around. So they are going to be behind on resources. At level 2 and 3, it has the Blood Curse ability. When this spirit would be destroyed by your opponent, you may place 1 core from your opponent's life, that's very key, and 1 core from this spirit into their owner's trashes to keep this spirit onto the field refreshed. That is insane. So that means even if your opponent can somehow get rid of this or can destroy it, you can just use this ability to literally take your opponent's core, throw it into the trash, and take a core already onto this spirit and put that back in the trash as well, and keep this card on the field. So they're not going to get rid of it on the first go around if it's already at level 2 or 3. And on the 3rd level, during your attack step, all spirits with Curse gain Blood Curse, so it'll gain that 2nd text ability right there. So this is a very, very important card. Like I said, this card can do all things for you. If you're behind and you get this card out, you can make a comeback. If you're ahead, you're going to put the nail in the coffin. It's pretty much lights out. So definitely the most important. Again, we're only going to put 1 copy of this card just because of the budget that we're on. The next card we're going to put in 2 copies of Dark Bishop Baculus. It has a very, very good ability on all 3 levels. So this is a very good card. It has, when summoned, remove all but 1 core from all spirits and place them into their owner's reserve. So this is very good, and that's key too. It goes into the reserve, not into the trash, or the void, I mean. So if it did the void, I mean, that would just be unbelievable right there. But it still does all into the owner's reserves. So this card right here, 2 copies of it. Again, you probably would want more if you're going to be making an optimizable deck. And again, this is a budget-friendly deck, so it's not going to be at the highest power level. But by putting these cards in, you're going to have some more synergy with your purple. And the 2 things I mentioned at the beginning of this video that this Call the Curse wants to do is have more Curse ability spirits and have more core removal abilities. And this does that on all 3 levels. So 2 copies of that one too, because again, $3.67 is pretty expensive. The next card that we're going to be putting in is Beldegor of the Dark World 7. We're going to be putting 2 copies of this one. That's going to bring you around $2 here. And this card is actually very, very good. First of all, it's a 3-drop that can be reduced by 1, so this could be a 2-drop. And it says during either attack step, so that's you or your opponent's attack step, it has Immortal cost 4 or 5, and you may summon the spirits from the trash when one of your other spirits that cost 4 or 5 is destroyed. So if you have a 4 or 5 spirit that's going to get destroyed, you can actually bring this card back from the trash. So really, really good. And then also has on level 1 and 2, when summoned, select one of your opponent's exhausted spirit that's 4 or fewer and destroy it. For a 3-drop, this is giving you card removal and you can bring it back from the trash. So this is a very, very, very good card. It can help with graveyard synergy and helps with also opponent's removal, which there's not a lot of those in this game right now, so having this card is very good. 2 copies of that one for sure. Next up, we have Dark Knight Agavale. Excuse me, and you're going to want 3 copies of this card, so it's only going to bring you at 30 cents. And now you're going to start seeing some really, really cheap cost alternative cards here. And again, I really like this one too because it has on level 1 and 2, when destroyed, draw a card if it has the red soul core on it. So you're getting card draw for this. That's really good. It's also a 3-drop that can be reduced by 2, so this can only be a 1-drop. The crucial thing about this one, you're really going to want to put it out on level 2 because it has, while this spirit attacks, that's the ability Curse, which is what we've been talking about. And it has, if one of your opponent's spirits blocks, destroy when the battle ends. So for those of you that are Magic the Gathering players, this is Death Touch basically. Definitely want 3 copies of this one. Very, very important. I really like this card. And again, really cheap, so good all around for purple. The next one, we did remove all of our 1-drops, so we're going to replace it with 3 Camelot Knights. And again, really cheap, so it's only going to cost you 18 cents for all 3 copies. It's a 1-drop that can be reduced by 1, so essentially this card can come out for free. And it has at level 1 or 2, when this spirit gains Curse, if it has the red soul core on it. And of course, we've been talking about it, you want more Curse ability spirits, this will do it for you, and at level 1. Don't forget, we also got rid of Demo Bones. He was just a 1-drop vanilla. We're going to replace it with Camelot Knight because at least you have the alternative to put the red core on it, and that gives it Curse. So I really do like that. 3 copies of that, very cheap. And the one card that actually comes with the starter deck that we're going to give 1 more copy to is going to be Dark Knight Florence. We already come with 3 copies in the deck. I'm going to go ahead and give it 1 more copy to round out to all 4 copies in the deck because again, at level 2, it has, while this spirit attacks, it does gain the Curse ability. So it can be a 1-drop because you can reduce it. It's a 2-drop that can be reduced by 1. So at level 3, if it comes in while the spirit attacks, it has the Curse ability. So really, really good card there. And then the last but not least, we're going to add 3 copies of Netherworld Depths. I told you guys there are some better purple nexuses. I think this one is probably one of the better purples in my opinion. 3 copies of this one's only going to come in at 30 cents. And at level 1 or 2, this thing gets draw a card when one of your opponent's spirits is exhausted. And that ability is static. It stays on this card. There's a lot of nexuses that have like, when played, get this ability. This one literally just says draw a card when one of your opponent's spirits is exhausted. That's crucial because in this game, that's going to probably happen more times than not. It's also a 6-drop, which is really expensive, but it can be reduced by 3. So it's really, really good there. So you have to get this out by 3, and that's it. Just pay 3. And if you're able to do that, you can just leave it at level 1 because then you just want that main ability of just drawing a card. Card draw in this game is so crucial. If you can run through your deck very fast with card draw and milling and stuff like that, and actually rummaging through, seeing the top card of your library, stuff like that, there's not a lot of that in this game. To get this card out here, this Nexus, out on the field pretty quickly, and again, you have that static ability, draw a card when your opponent's spirits is exhausted, that's really good. The level 2 ability, during your attack step, when one of your spirits is blocked, you may pay 1 core from this Nexus to destroy your opponent's blocking spirits. Essentially, that reads, hey, give this Nexus Curse, a Curse ability. That's really what it is, and then you're going to take that Curse and put it onto your spirit. So that's a really good, it has perfect synergy. All of these cards, that's the 15 cards you're going to add in, all 15 of these cards is going to come in at $14.25. And again, like I said, this is not the optimal purple version. I know that, okay? This is just a very budget friendly. You're going to get the starter deck. You're going to take those 15 cards out. You're going to put these 15 cards in. It's going to give you, I think, a better experience playing this game. Again, this is kind of like at that level 2 or 3 power level. So I think all of these starter decks kind of come at a 1 or a 2. We're just giving it that extra like 2.5, 3 power level. And like I said, you can have a little more fun playing this game. You're going to have a better, I think, a better experience, and definitely a different experience too. Because right now, these starter decks, they don't have the best synergy. This deck is called Call of the Curse. There's not a lot of curse abilities. By doing what we're doing here, taking these 15 vanilla cards out, that's pretty much what we took out of this starter deck. And we're putting all of these cards in. I mean, how many cards with curse? That one has curse. This one removes cores. This one can be summoned. That one has curse. That one has curse, but you gotta put the red core on it. And then, of course, at level 2, this one also has curse. So that's a lot of curse abilities that we're putting now into the deck. Should give you guys a little better of an optimal deck. And then, of course, if you really, really like this deck and you really like the strategy, hey, you know, go nuts at that point, right? Then you're just probably gonna take 10 more cards and add it and really optimize it. But then you're gonna be spending at least more than $20 for sure. So that's going to do it for this video, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget the next deck we're going to do. The next deck that is up is Aegis of the Machines. This is the third deck, the white deck. And we're going to be doing the same thing. We're going to be taking a look at the deck, taking 15 cards out, putting 15 cards in, all under $15 to give you guys a budget-friendly version of this deck and give you guys a better experience. At the very least, give you guys a different experience. So that is going to do it for this video. As always, guys, please hit that like button if you're new here. Consider hitting that subscribe button as well. As always, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I'll see you guys next time.